Well, I'm here with Debbie and Paul. I really like them. They're really cool people. And I know I interview a lot of people, okay? I interview a lot of weird people, family and stuff like that. But I really like Debbie and Paul. This is the only time I would agree, and they didn't ask. And I didn't ask to be interviewed separately, but only time I've interviewed two people at the same time. And mostly because I like to keep myself as the center of the attention. But today we're going to spread the attention around just a little bit. Debbie, listen. We have known each other a long time. I'm not sure when it started.
Well, I think I knew you before you knew me.
I was younger. I know that. I was lighter, probably weighed less, and was younger then. But it has been. It's probably been over 10 years, 15,
Longer.
something like that.
Longer.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wore a jacket yesterday. I had to do a chapel in Ohio at a big school up there. And they've asked me back twice. I don't know why, but they had asked me back twice. But the jacket I had on was over 30 years old, the suit jacket.
Okay.
Over 30 years old. And I got to thinking, I thought, well, you know, and too, what I done last time I went, I wore a black shirt and, undressed with another little jacket. So my grandson told me, he said, Papa, you overdressed a little bit for the chapel, this chapel, these guys, stuff like that. So this time, I wore an Orange Crush T-shirt because I wore orange with an Orange Crush pop on the front of it and wore me a suit jacket over top of it, and nobody ever mentioned it. They never said a word about it. But I got to thinking about that. You ever watch that Talladega Nights with Ricky Bobby?
Yes.
Yes, I really like it. Okay,
Yes.
But I got to thinking about when he said this sticker on the windshield, that Fig Newton sticker. He said, I do like my Fig Newton. See that?
Like some big news.
So, this is the thing. I think you get at a point in your life where you get freedom, okay? Mm-hmm. You don't have it early on because you got to impress everybody, okay? And, if you don't impress them, they won't like you.
Yeah.
Or they won't, but you sort of get a point, and it makes you a little dangerous. You know what I mean? You get a little bit dangerous, but, I think you get a point in your life to where and it's not, you're not going to hurt anybody. But what I find, tell me what you think about this. I think you get at a point in your life when you don't answer questions people ask you because you don't want to.
Right.
They'll ask you something, you say, you know what? Even if they're wrong, you just say, okay.
Just don't want to answer.
You just don't answer,
Yeah.
So I think that, well, where are you originally from, Deb?
I am from Davie, West Virginia.
Davie,
Yeah.
McDowell County, so that's where all the great ones come from.
Hey, every one of them.
Yeah, I went over to the other day. It was over in Pineville.
Yeah.
It's like New York City.
Yeah.
Pineville is. There must have been 1,000 cars through that intersection come there. I had to go over. We're on TV all over in there, Pineville and all over that way. And they just, Chantel just put us on. We're just about on the whole state of West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now they the other day, how the Lord has just opened up doors and made ways. It's just really cool.
He will do it.
And I mean, I just talking to one person. He said, "Well, go ahead and send me." He said, when I was talking to the guy at the cable system, he said, this where you're at here now is a legacy, but we're moving all this, and if you don't, I said, well, give me the guy's name, and I called him up, and he said, well, sure, send me the equipment we need, and I sent it, but I mean, the Lord just opens doors and makes ways, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
He's always opened doors for us.
Well, what have you seen? What are some of the memories you had growing up as a girl there in Davie?
Good ones. Well, I was there till I was about 6, and then
Okay.
my dad moved to his family's farm in Kentucky,
Okay,
and that's where I really grew up.
in Kentucky.
So, yeah,
What part?
in the green grass of
Yes.
Kentucky, the bluegrass.
The bluegrass.
state. Down in Ashland, right outside of Ashland,
Okay.
Kentucky.
Right.
Had a great childhood.
Uh-huh.
Had wonderful parents, mean brothers and sisters.
I understand.
Had to fight your way
Yeah.
for a Coca-Cola on a Saturday evening. But we enjoyed life.
Yes,
And my brother, he was really mean, and I had to hold his horses
Right.
while he saddled them, and that was, that was scary.
I would say so. It makes sense.
I didn't like horses.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I had a great childhood. I just remember the good, I don't know, just the family time. We just, it was all about family
Yeah.
and the front porch.
Yeah. You know, we spend a lot of time on the porch.
Yes.
My house is only 850 square feet, and my porch is about 850 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay, but we spend all summer on the porch, and one of the biggest things I did, we've got all the stuff out there on the porch, the couches, the chairs. We got a big table, big teak wood table,
Yeah.
where we get chairs all around it. But everything we've got out there, we've sort of pieced together. Like the table come from the auction. We gave $50 for it. The chairs are old Pizza Hut chairs.
Yeah.
Okay, and Janice recovered them and painted them black. And then the couch and everything. The only thing I do have some. I went to Ohio and bought an 8-foot porch swing. I mean, a 6-foot porch swing that you could lay down in. Because them old 5-foot swings crumple your neck up. You know what I mean? And I thought, I'm a little too old to have my neck crumpled up. And I ordered from China a memory foam cushion that goes in the seat of it. And it come from China. I know it did, and I could tell. But and put it in the seat of that thing, and I spent. And then what I done is on the top of that swing, I put a little holder for my telephone and my iPad. So I sit out there up in the night, and I watch TV out there and watch the news, and I sit there and swing. And Janice looks out at me every once in a while. Are you okay? I say, yes, bring me a Pepsi. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And then 2 fireplaces on the porch, some little gas fireplaces. I got one out of an auction and one from somewhere else, but we just pieced it all together.
Yeah.
But we spend all kinds of time out there like that together.
I know.
And I think that time outside on the porch is just so important.
It's wonderful.
It really is.
And around the fire pit.
Yeah.
We have a fire pit.
I like it. You got the gas one?
Well,
or
we
wood?
have both, but I like the wood.
I like the wood, but you sort of smell after you get done with that.
Yeah, well, who cares?
Yeah, I'm very sensitive, but people don't know that. But I'm a very sensitive fella. But I think of how and I don't think we've used it much since we got the gas.
Yeah.
On the porch, but I light it a lot, and I've got those solar twinkle lights all over the place.
You have
it's just,
to do it right.
yeah, I've got them. You can't hide class.
No.
I hang them out everywhere and stuff. But so, brothers and sisters growing up, that's pretty good. That sort of that you. I was talking the other day. I was talking to a gentleman today. He was talking about growing up, how people used to have a lot more kids,
Right.
because they needed somebody to work.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And now you don't have as many kids because you'll have to work.
Yeah.
How it's sort of changed around just a little bit. But I'm thinking how we do that. And I had a brother one time for almost a week, and they took him back. He belonged to some people there in the area Mom and Dad knew, and they was having discourse problems in their marriage, so they wanted to get rid of the kid. So Mom and Dad took him. Ricky was his name, Ricky Aville. Okay, and I've tried to find him. So they brought him and gave him to Mom and Dad. And I had him. I got pictures of me and him playing out in the yard. Ricky Aville was his name. We were playing out in the yard and together. And then they come back and got him, took him back. And then they ended up sending him to Mountain Mission over at Grundy.
Well.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had a brother for a little while.
Well,
But I had enough mean cousins, like you said, that come in.
yeah, I had a lot of cousins too.
Yeah.
But the brothers and sisters were the main matchups.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
We had to work, like you said. There was certain things that had to be done.
Mm-hmm.
The grass had to be mowed and the house had to be clean, and
Right.
and we all worked together.
Yeah. I didn't work growing up like that. It didn't seem like. My mom and dad I think I was spoiled, but I was an only child at that point. I mean, we brought in cousins. Mom and dad raised cousins of mine, and cousins, and mom raised a sister of hers and raised different people. But I really think about me growing up. I didn't work in no garden, or I didn't have to do no work like that. I just didn't. Never used the outhouse. I know got people come to me and they're so proud they used to use the outhouse. But I'm thinking I just never really,
Very fortunate,
I didn't work.
weren't you?
Well, I lived in the city of War.
Yeah.
When you live in
yeah.
the city, is that right, Val?
Well, I always lived in a holler.
Yeah, in the holler. When I think about that, in memories growing up, I think about when I, got 2 pair of shoes a year. I remember that. You got school shoes and play shoes.
Yeah.
That's what you got. I remember that. And then we had to get taps put on our school shoes so they didn't wear out. Did you have taps, Paul?
No taps.
No taps, man.
I had 2 pair of shoes like you did, and 2 pair of jeans.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I come from a family of 10.
Yeah, shoot.
she coming from a family of 11, right? But I had 6 brothers, 3 sisters, and we worked. It was just, it was a fun time.
Yeah.
Of course, my father passed away when I was 3, and my mom had a time raising all of us. But we worked the garden and hauled wood and hauled coal, and that's how we worked. And of course, every one of us went to work. Those little stores in Davie, where I'm from.
Right.
And you know, you just go through the motions, and it's fun. Just like you said, we had a big porch,
right,
and we stayed on the porch all the time.
Yeah.
But outhouse, we had, Lord, we went through 2 or 3 outhouses.
Yeah.
I mean, the best time was my neighbor had the top of the line outhouse, you know.
Oh,
we used to have to put a lock on it. But it was fun time. And I do, and I can say to this day, I remember my mom every morning at 5:30 on her knees praying. And just calling out to God, and that's how we just trusted in God forever. And it happened.
And you don't know memories are memories when you're making them, do you?
No.
I mean, it's the same way nowadays in our lives. At this point in our life, and I'm older than both of y'all, but at this point in our life, we don't know their memories. You know, I get to go with my grandson in the mornings to the Y. Pick him up at 8:15. He will not come out of that house a minute earlier, okay? And he holds me on the dot, okay? But we do that, and it's such a memory, okay? To get to me and him walk every morning together, and then we work out together, and we do all that, and it just I know it's so important. We drive 6 hours each way to watch my other grandson play basketball.
Right.
You know, we'd drive 6 hours and drive back and get back home at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, but I know that's important to him, and to have his grandparents to be there. And I think about the memories, how important they are. And we just,
Great
you know,
memories.
we don't know when we're making them. We think it's just a normal day.
That's true.
Yeah, we think it's just a normal. Well, where did you work at originally?
Okay, I worked, my first job was, I worked for D&H Food Market and Wallace Goodson in Davie when I was 15. Well, and I went from there to Kroger in Welch, Coney Island. Well, I'm sorry, Welch in town.
All right.
Then they closed that one, and I went to Coney Island.
Okay.
Kroger.
Over Welch.
Welch. And then in '83 is when we come to Tazewell, and I worked in Richlands for 18 years, '83 to 2000, 2001.
And in that same structure of business, food?
Absolutely, retail.
Working in grocery stores?
Right.
Okay.
It was all, actually, I've got 45 years for Kroger Company.
Yeah.
And that's what we raised all our family
Yeah.
on.
See, I think there's so much to be said for that, okay? Again, it really makes me feel bad because I didn't do anything like that, and I wish I would have had some kind of retirement and done something. But I count on my check every 16th of the month, all right? That's the only thing. And I think about that. So my kids all have better jobs than I ever had.
Right.
They all make more money than I ever do, still make more money than I ever do. And they do good. But I think about things, you know, I mean, I think to stay in that field, and people miss, I was sharing with somebody the other day, when Janice and I worked for McDonald's, we made really good money.
Right.
Okay, really good money as managers for McDonald's. And people look at it like, well, what are you doing? You're going to make hamburgers? I'm thinking, yeah. You know what I mean? We had a 401k, we had stock, I had a company car, 30 days of vacation. I mean, it was really, and if you get involved in a job like that and stay with the company, you know, my son works for Pepsi, Colson does. And because a few years ago, he had worked with us for a long time, and we gathered him up and said, we're not going to work anymore. Your mom and I are not going to work like we've been working. And so I said, you'll need to go somewhere else. And because he's worked with me since his little boy.
Right.
And he went up there and took made his CDL. He'd always drove a truck and a bulldozer and stuff, made his CDL to college, went to work for Pepsi within a week. And makes good money and loves
Very
it.
good company in Whitful.
Yeah, Withful's the best. Yeah, that's way better than a lot of, because that's the actual the company, PepsiCo. But he does, but man, he leaves out like 2:30 in the morning, going to work, and gets home at 5 in the evening. And
the interesting thing, when I first started to work, I was in the 9th grade, and I'd ride the school bus to Welch.
okay,
Go to school, get off 2 o'clock, walk down to Kroger. Work till they closed at 6 or 7 then, walk down to Kroger, but I didn't have a vehicle. And I would, if you know about Welch, the one that was in Welch, I would walk down, work, then walk down to the emergency hospital.
right.
And then thumb to Davie. But what was interesting, I didn't always get a ride to Davie.
Right.
It would be Big Ben, Big Jenny,
Right.
never really Mohegan. That was a long ways off. But one day I was thumbing, and it was raining. It was pouring out rain. This little old blue pickup, I remember today, blue pickup, pulled up beside of me. And I said, well, I'm going to have to ride in the back. This little old woman, probably 70 years old, says, honey, if you get up close to the cab, them dogs will keep you warm. So I jumped up in there, and I went to Big Jenny with them.
Right.
They let me off.
Yeah.
It was like Forrest Gump. I ran home. So you had to be right.
Yeah.
That's a memory.
Yeah.
a memory.
That's a real memory.
Yeah.
It's
But
cool.
it was all good. I finally got a car, and it was just, like you said, you start your time, and then you start working, and then you get retirement in 401, and then it's just you don't think about it, but it happens.
Yeah.
Then you get married and have 3 kids,
Yeah.
and you got 8 grandkids, and
My
just
Lord.
try to run with them as
Yeah.
much as you can.
Absolutely.
Well, when we think about this though now, and I am not a really, I've interviewed a lot fathers that are a lot better than me. Okay, like I interviewed Barry Absher the other day. Okay, and I really like Barry, but Barry's son is a plumber, and he said we were working on a water line, and his son had the flu, and he was sitting in the truck, and he said, I told him I'll dig the line for you, and he got out and dug it for his son. I wouldn't have done that. I would have said, no, if you get me a ditch witch, we'll do it. But I mean, I love my son, but I ain't digging a ditch for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he's a lot better father, and I express that. But when you think about this point in your life, I never got to the questions I want to ask y'all yet, but I was thinking about this. The point in you get to a different season. Life has chapters and pages, right? So you're at another page in your life, and you both seem like you're healthy. Okay, as good as we can be. All right, you know what I mean? I'm not as medicated as I have been. All right, so I got off the metformin. I've been on it 20 years. Right. And Celebrex, I'm off of it for arthritis, which I was on it 20 years.
Wow.
Okay, so when you think about now, it's you and her have to make sure that you spend time with each other. Because there's so many seasons, I believe this in her life, that it's all good, but you got to raise your kids and you got to do those things. And but there has to come a point in time, I believe, in a husband and wife. I'm not writing a book to sell on Oprah, but I think at your point in your life, you have to spend time with each other.
Right.
And Janice and I try to do that. What do you think?
Oh, 24/7.
Yeah.
We're together.
Yeah.
And when we're not together, what are you doing?
Right.
Where we have a split level home, and he goes downstairs of the evenings
Right.
and watches his TV, and I stay upstairs and watch my TV.
And I think that's good.
A little bit of separation,
It's good for
but
relationships.
yet we're still close.
Right.
So, but other than that, we're together all the time.
And I think when we're talking, and I know you love your grandkids. If you don't, you can't admit it on TV. But I mean, what it is, and grandkids are all right, okay? But I don't think you can let them, I don't think you're supposed to, and I'm just telling you what I'm saying. It's all right if we get in a big fight.
Okay.
But I don't think you're supposed to raise them
Right.
Okay? And I think, there's times that Janice and I, we see the grandkids, and I said, we ain't responsible, for that right there. You know what I mean? We ain't responsible.
Right.
It's all right. She says, well, I think they'll do this. I said, well, I know you think what you want, but as long as we stay quiet. Let them handle that, because my grandkids, I wanted, a while back, several years ago, I really didn't care if I lived or died. I wasn't depressed. But I didn't care if I went on to meet the Lord. I feel like I've done pretty good.
Ready to go.
Okay, I'm probably not as good as I should be, but I'm all right. Felt like He would allow for some things. But I thought to myself, but I got to thinking, I really want to see my kids get what they deserve through my grandkids. And I believe they're going to do it because I've got a couple of red-headed one and a little mouthy one, and one. They're all sort of replicas of them, and it scares my kids to death. Okay, because they think what it is, Paul. They think that a while back, I take my 2 grandsons to the beach every year. We take them, Janice and I do. We take them to Myrtle Beach. Like all good people from McDowell County do. We go to Myrtle Beach and we go down there, and I take them and we take the camper and pile in, and I make them boondock in one parking lot one night. But at night I turn them loose on the golf cart. I buy them necklaces, Paul, like you give to the girls off of Temu. You know what I mean? I give them 1,000 them necklaces, and so they can give them to girls when they ride them down on the golf cart, where their mothers are constantly calling, wanting to know where they are.
Right.
And so we don't know where they are. They should be back here by 11. And I said, last night they smelled like perfume when they come back, so we don't know where they're all at. But what I figure is, oh man, they get mad. They just say this. I said, nope, we don't care where they are, because I took them to Myrtle Beach when they were young.
Right.
And they knew there's a lot of stuff goes on, so they're scared.
Yeah.
Which I like that. So I don't think we should raise them grandkids.
No, we shouldn't raise them. But now listen, I take care of my grandkids. I take care of them. I love them.
Right. I'm all for loving them.
I remember our first granddaughter, Madeline. She changed our world, didn't she, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
And we just would have took her and just raised her, but they wouldn't let us have her. So then, we had a grandson, and then we had another. I mean, just on down the line, and each one was so special, and they're still just.
Yeah.
What did they say? The apple of our eye, and so we're just. See, Maddie will be 21, right? And then the youngest one is she'll be 13.
Yeah, so you got a mixture there. See, I've got one that's 5. And 1 13 and 1 18.
Oh, okay.
So I got that mixture of all those things, but they are all different, aren't they?
Oh.
I mean, they're different. It's really something to see, isn't it?
Oh, they're so different. One will be over here
riding a horse.
One will shoot a gun, and one will be over here playing ball.
Yeah.
They're all different.
Yeah. The younger,
Right.
I don't know if your youngest one, what's your youngest one?
13.
Okay.
She'll be 13.
Does it seem like they're smarter than the other ones were?
Well,
I know I can't. That's probably not a good way to say that. Okay, I don't mean that.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I know you
I
wouldn't.
would say her name's Willow, and she has her place.
Right.
And she loves her mama and papa, and she lets us know that every night.
Right.
At bedtime.
Right.
And that's special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell the rest of them, why don't you call me? But, Willow will call us, and she'll say, good night, I love you.
Well, we got one, the 18-year-old calls. He drives an hour to school and back. So he calls every evening all the way home, and Janice talks him home, during the day. But I've got this little one. It's 5, that lives next door, like within that wall next door to our house. And he's the smartest person on that side of the gate. He can read the whole room, Paul. He can watch us all, and his ears, I think they move, and he just listens to everybody's conversation when you think he ain't listening, and he controls us all. Wow. He can control the whole porch at one time. You know what I mean? And I told him, I said, the sooner we concede that he is in charge of us,
And he's 5.
5. I said, the more we can enjoy. He comes to the house and I lock the door, won't let him in, and he'll put his mouth on the door and blow and knock, and I say, nope, go home. You know what I mean? And he's got a pet rooster now called Doodle. Okay, and they've had to keep it in the house. And we die laughing, Paul, because every time you call, the rooster crows, okay? What? You hear him just a crowing, and I swear it's the most beautiful thing. And he carries it around upside down, and the rooster just shuts its eyes and stays with him, follows him around everywhere. But, grandkids, and I don't know now, and I think a man can feel different than a woman. I mean, and I know you love your grandkids and stuff like that, but there's a nurturing part of a woman that's a little. My wife she's different toward the grandkids than what I am, and they don't fool with me a lot. Okay, they come right in, want to play. Get out the Play-Doh, get out the bubbles, get everything ready with me. They just come over, maybe sit on my lap a little bit and watch YouTube. But I mean, they don't mess with me as much as they do her. How's it for you?
She's the same way.
See?
They come in and have everything to do with her.
Yeah.
Because she gets with them and plays with them, and every little thing going on, you play with them.
Well, when they were smaller, but now their interests they're different. Mm-hmm. And some want to talk, some don't want to talk.
Right.
It's kind of sad that they're growing up.
Well, Paul, when you think about it, okay, I think about, and again, man, I see people that, in my family, I was trying to think of anybody that's ever retired.
Right.
Okay, and I just don't know. I got an uncle that retired. He said he retired. But I'm not sure how much he ever really worked. But he retired. He said he throwed his boots in the creek, so he just made sure he didn't work again. But when you think about if you build a future with company, and you'll stay like you're talking about it.
Right.
And I try to tell people that, and I used to tell men that work for me, I said, the first thing, if you just show up, okay? If you'll show up for work and you'll come, first thing, just show up. And stay consistent and stay with that. I think there's so much to be said for that, man.
Well, I've told all 3 of my kids that you need a job that's got retirement, 401, something and good insurance for sure, but everything to lean back on. I retired in 17, and I had 45 years, like I said, good retirement, good 401 too, and over the years, God protected me, and I just put it back, had it, and we just we live on it really good. But I would probably tell anybody to try to retire, work to retire, to not. I'd hate to see anybody just have to work all their life.